The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until that opening bell, and we got markets in positive territory to kick things off, trading higher even over the last few hours. Right now, you have the S&Ps in positive territory by 3 points, trading at 33.96. Actually have the NASDAQ in the negative by about 0.2%, 25 points in the red right now, 11,443. The Dow up 116 points. That's 0.4 in the green at 28,111. Jumping around to commodities, crude continuing the rise it had yesterday. How about getting back basically all of the losses from early Thursday? Early Thursday, you trade from about 40.50 down to 36.50, give or take. $4 to the downside, and just like that, from Friday, middle of the day, $4 to the upside before the open in the market on Tuesday. Gold contract up about $4 at $19.24. Silver down 2 pennies at $24.53. And how about notes and bond? We got a 138 handle in the 10-year. The 10-year down 6 ticks at 138.23. The 30-year right now negative 25 ticks at 173.14. As to how that hits the 10-year yield, we're approaching 0.8% right now, 0.79%, the yield on the 10-year. Pretty remarkable action when you put it on a daily. And maybe this is just the ebb and the flow around this 139.22, some of the highs, right? Where is the line of linear regression, you could call it, in the middle of this whole trend that we've had, basically going back to March 9th. But that's a decisive bar that we had yesterday. You look at where this has been, and even taking this off for a moment for a little clarity, we'll zoom it in. When you look at the red bars we've had, that's one of the reddest in terms of the size of the move yesterday, only maybe matched by, of course, what was going on as the COVID shutdown began. And then we had the June volatility in the markets where you had the 10-year. We're talking about 5 days. Go from a price point of 139.07. You make a low on June 5th of 136.22. I mean, a huge move, but we got it all back in 4 days. So we'll see where this goes in terms of the 10-year now. Of course, a good segue to jump over to the potential for stimulus. That's coming into play into all these markets, in the note market as well. Pelosi and Mnuchin, they're going to be speaking again today. They spoke for an hour yesterday on the phone, trying to work their way through a divide. Even if they come up with a plan, now the market is forward-thinking, so it's going to react to the plan. But in terms of real life, when that money actually hits the economy, you're going to have basically 2 weeks of action, bring back the members of Congress so they can vote. So at least a couple weeks, then probably a week or two until the money actually makes it out from there. So you're talking about at least 3 to 4 weeks if a deal gets done like today. Not sure that's in the cards. We'll see how it plays out. Of course, the news last night, President Trump getting released from Walter Reed at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, flying on Marine One back to the White House, climbing the stairs, and of course taking his mask off. We all know what's going on. There's no reason to add any analysis of that performance, in my opinion, but you make your own decision. It's quite a sight, and we'll leave it at that. All right, in terms of what else we have going on, let's just jump right to the stocks. We'll jump to Southwest first, because they're the top of the list right now, saying that they can avoid layoffs through 2021, but they're asking for pay cuts. So these airlines will jump over to Love, Southwest, LUV, and they all got a nice pop yesterday on some renewed optimism, maybe really Friday in terms of that stimulus possibility. It's up this morning to 38.85 from about 38.49. And in terms of what they'll be looking for, but without another payroll support package, he said cost savings must be in place for all employee groups by January 1st of 2021. Folks, that's like tomorrow in the corporate world in terms of a 20% cut. Kelly's reducing his base salary to zero through the end of 2021 and continuing a 20% cut in senior executives' pay through the next year. I mean, this is very ingenuous, in my opinion, because CEOs many times are not making a majority of their wealth off of salary. They're making it off of stock options. What is his real earning capacity as the CEO of this company, even though he's reducing his salary to zero? Those shares that he's given, those come from somewhere, folks. They come from the company. And a 20% cut in senior executives' pay through the next year. Nonetheless, we'll see how that plays out. So Logitech and Sonos, they are trading down today because they are no longer available in the Apple store. Sonos stock drops on reports that Apple is purging third-party audio products from its stores. Apple's working on high-end set and over-ear headphones that will carry its own brand instead of the Beats brand. So pretty interesting, right? They go out, they purchase Beats for, what was it, $1 billion, 500, something, a very large sum of money. It's done very well for them, but they're going to have their own Apple products now. So they're probably looking at they have multiple brands in their own store, right? Which is probably why they wanted to have Logitech, Sonos. They didn't just want their own brand because they wanted to be able to service their customers. Now they are going to be the ones providing multiple brands in their own store with Apple and Beats. Nonetheless, to see how that trades, as you may expect. Is it LOGI, Logitech? Yes. So there you see the drop for Logitech from almost 81 to 75. I'm actually surprised it's not down more. Of course, they're still going to have a business, but man, that is quite a storefront to be kicked out of overnight. And I'm sure they knew that it was a possibility coming down the line, but still pretty stark. For some context on this stock, though, how about that? From 31 to 81, everybody needs your webcam and so forth. I think we have a webcam. I think I'm using a Logitech right now. Thankfully, I had it before all of this happened because the areas of webcams, one of the things that's really taken off, of course, for Logitech and Sonos. What is that symbol? S-O-N-O. So Sonos, a little bit of a different story. They're not quite in the webcam type. Webcam, I should say, is not a part of their business at all versus Logitech and those types of products, but nonetheless trading up. But when we look at it this morning, not quite as big of a reaction as Logitech. So they must not be quite as dependent as Logitech is on that Apple store. All right, markets continuing to itch up a bit. Right now, we're approaching within a quarter of a point of 3,400 on the dot. We just made it up to 3,403. Jumping over to the VIX this morning. Pretty interesting action yesterday. The market opens higher. The VIX opens higher. What do we have going on today, folks? The S&P's up 6 points, and the VIX is up 31 cents. Why is the VIX keep going up if the S&P keeps going up? Now, the VIX is predicated on the S&P. I believe it's 30-day, the price of 30-day options on like a rolling basis is how that is somewhat calibrated, I believe. And again, we have the S&P's positive, sitting right at 3,400. You have the VIX in an elevated level from the close yesterday, sitting at 28.27. Seems like every night the VIX is saying, maybe we should price in a little bit more volatility premium to these markets right now. Folks, we sit 28 days, 4 weeks exactly from Election Day. Hopefully you're all registered to vote. Yesterday was, I think, the final day to register in Florida. And get out there and vote, however you're going to do it. You're going to vote by mail, I think that's great. You're going to vote by person. You can vote early as well. Florida's got some great early voting. Maybe you avoid some of the crowds. Get out there and vote. That's what America's about. All right, S&P is positive by 6. NASDAQ negative 22. Dow up 140, and the Russell up 13 as well. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. See what else we have going on Tuesday trading. We'll be right back.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. Markets right where we started off. S&P's at 33.99. NASDAQ off a bit, off 24 points right now, 11,444. And the Dow up 145 points, 28,139. Jumping back to the stories of the morning I was checking out, I mean, pretty interesting to think about the trends and how they're going to change, right? Companies to shrink offices as work stays remote after pandemic. It's a lot of discussions. What companies are bringing people back? What companies are saying you can work from home forever? More than half of companies plan to shrink their offices as working from home becomes a regular fixture after the COVID-19 pandemic ends. According to a survey by Cisco, some 53% of larger organizations plan to reduce the size of their office space, and more than 3/4 will increase work flexibility. Almost all of the respondents were uncomfortable returning to work because they fear contracting the virus. The poll found natural stuff that makes a lot of sense. Cisco, the largest maker of networking, recently surveyed 1,569 executives, knowledge workers, and others who are responsible for employee environments in the post-COVID era. The findings suggest many of this year's radical changes to work life will remain long after the pandemic subsides. I mean, these are ideas that people are making, right, in terms of saying, when this ends, how are things going to react, and will it revert back to what type of world that we lived in pre-COVID versus post-COVID? And what you should really listen to on this is that these changes are not going away. The world was already progressing to this manner. Tom and I have said it on the program many times. All it did was expedite it in a dramatic fashion, that instead of slowly making that adoption and companies kicking and screaming because there was the natural feeling, okay, that if we let people work from home, productivity would decrease. It makes sense. And in some cases, I'm sure it does, right? That's where management styles are probably going to have to adapt to a world where many people are working from home. What does that consist of? I don't know. Maybe it consists of more meetings frowned upon at the office sometimes because they're time killers. In a world where everybody is remote and from home, maybe you need more meetings to make sure that tasks are brought up, what you're achieving is on the table. You have a list of things that need to be achieved, a timetable, etc. Maybe that's how the shift changes in terms of management. But nonetheless, big numbers, and I imagine, you see it even at a small company like TFNN, myself having the mobility to be around if I want to, all of our hosts remotely already coming in to do their programs, Zoom taking off in dramatic fashion, many people working from home, even if it's 3 or 4 days a week that they are now in the office versus 5 days a week to that degree. Maybe that's going to free up some traffic on those roads for once, especially around good old Boston. Tampa's got some good traffic as well. All right, what else we got going on in terms of Fed speak today? You have Powell. I believe he's on at 10:30 speaking today. But you also have Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic, and Dallas Fed President Robert Kaplan all speaking today. It's a lot of Fed speaking one day, but it is all coming down the line today. All right, what else we have going on in terms of headlines for specific equities? Cisco, they're ordered to pay, speaking of, they conducted that survey, $1.9 billion to Virginia-based cybersecurity company Centripedal, which had accused Cisco of copying its patents. These numbers just get crazy. $2 billion because Cisco might have copied somebody else's patent. 4 of 5 patents, but said it was disappointed with the decision, plans to appeal. Dollar Tree, they're going to be hiring 25,000 seasonal workers. Many of those jobs will be at the discount retailers' distribution centers. Online shopping surges due to the pandemic. There's your update in terms of the world changing, folks. Even a company like Dollar Tree, online is how they're coming at it in a big way. They're up a little bit this morning, pretty unchanged. We covered Sonos, Logitech, Apple, etc. Taking a look at Apple, they'll be cutting Sonos and Logitech out of their stores off a bit at $115.80. Google rebranding their G Suite as the Google Workspace. They're competing with Microsoft Office products, a little rebranding there going on. Amgen announced positive results in a phase 2 study of an experimental treatment for non-small cell lung cancer. Always encouraging to see some great medical news. There you see the initial pop. We're up a bit to about 258.11 from 256.01 for Amgen. Costco, so they got an upgrade to overweight from equal weight at Barclays based on healthy customer traffic levels, not particularly tough comps, and sustainable profit margin expansions. Excuse me. Costco shares getting a pop on that upgrade from 358 to 362. And there you see their volatility from being about 320 pre-COVID, pre-market, dipped a bit. But the run that we've had since late June from about 300, we're up about 20% just since then at about 362 this morning for Costco shares. Northrop Grumman, they got an upgrade as well. Outperform from sector perform, noting recent ballistic missile contract award as well as third quarter underperformance by the stock. RBC said this sets up a compelling risk reward for Northrop Grumman, NOC. Defense stocks, tough to argue against defense stocks living in the United States of America, folks. $313, and I say that just in that the amount of business that they get on a continual basis. $313, we're up a bit, though, on that upgrade. There's your pop to about $319 this morning for Northrop. Alexion Pharmaceuticals, they're going to raise its full-year revenue guidance by more than $200 million when it reports on October 22nd. It also said it expects to return at least $3 billion to shareholders. Look at that, right? ALXN. $3 billion to shareholders. As you may expect, we're up more than $3 this morning from $115.25 to about $118.50 right now on Alexion. And jumping around. Okay, what else we have going on in the market? One thing that caught my eye, the continued battle over talking about copyrights, patents, Led Zeppelin. So they emerge the victor in the Stairway to Heaven plagiarism case. If you've been following this at all, they had, so it was the 1971 song, Stairway to Heaven, and they had been accused, I'm trying to get, I believe the Taurus, yes. Lead singer Robert Plant, guitarist Jimmy Page had been accused in the 6-year-long case of lifting the riff, one of the best-known openings in rock music, from a song called Taurus, written by the late Randy Wolf in the U.S. band Spirit. Now, what's interesting is that Led Zeppelin was the opening act for Spirit on a tour in 1968. The song was from 1971. Page testified in a 2016 trial in L.A. that he had not heard Taurus until recently. Very possible. Maybe you just hear the riff one time, maybe you take it. Nonetheless, Led Zeppelin off the hook as the Supreme Court turns down their ability to take that case. Nonetheless, that'll mean a 2020 decision by a U.S. appeals court will stand in Led Zeppelin's favor. All right, jumping around to some of the FANG stocks. See where we're at this morning. You got Amazon shares trading at 31.80 so far. Microsoft shares this morning, 208.81. We see the NASDAQ down. The only major index in the negative right now, you have Microsoft down basically $2.50. That's a decent move there. Netflix shares down as well from 520 to about 516. Let's check in on everybody's favorite Tesla. Tesla, of course, in the green by a few dollars from 425 to 428. Facebook shares down a bit as well. So tech taking a little bit of a pullback this morning with the rest of the markets in positive territory. We get the S&P sitting right at 3,400. We get the NASDAQ at 11,445. Dow back above 28,000, 28,139. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back in 3 minutes to finish up the show. We'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated folic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's hanging right at 33.99, up by 6 points. The Dow up 142. NASDAQ in negative territory a bit. I got a chart of the gold contract up here. Gold trading at 1921. 1921 had it made it as high as 1925. Jumping around to other stories out there. So in terms of movies and movie theaters, continues to be a tough one. So Batman, film with Robert Pattinson, pushed to 2022. I mean, what's going on is you're just seeing these big ticket movie productions having to get pushed back. And now there's a big lineup of them, and that continues to cause even more pushbacks. After Dune was pushed to 2021 and more than 500 Cineworlds, we talked about it yesterday, theaters were closed. Black Adam has been removed from the Warner Brothers calendar. Forget who's in that film. That's a big one, though. It might be The Rock. I don't think so. It's somebody, though. I remember that one. And look at all these moves that they have. So Dune going back to October 1st, 2021. That's a year ago. A year from now. Shazam 2, they're already pushing that out 2.5 years from right now. And these two aren't even on the calendar yet. Continued tough deal. Not even to mention getting movies produced. They talk about in here that you had Robert Pattinson testing positive, and he is the new Batman in that film. So kind of a double whammy in terms of production getting pushed back, having to push back the release as well. Jump over to a company like Disney, continuing to struggle a bit. AMC, talk about some pain yesterday, though, from basically $4.70 down to $4.05. We're up a bit, though, up about 13 cents this morning at $4.28 for AMC. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got our man Larry Pesavento. He's coming up live next. Should be an interesting day of trading, as is the case usually. S&Ps, $33.99, jumping over to the VIX. Watch that VIX, folks. If there's strength in this market, then the VIX shouldn't be going up while the market goes up. When the market goes up, people just get more nervous, and buy more insurance, which is why the price of insurance keeps going up, even though the market's been going up. Eventually that can't be true. And it will revert in terms of either market pulling back to validate that higher VIX, or the VIX will pull back to validate the higher market. 28 days to the election. We'll find out, folks. Stay tuned. Larry Pesavento,